making no sense with Thomasina.
All right. So what's happening, everybody? Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday. I hope I get this out on Wednesday. But hey, how about that for being topical? I'm gonna get this right out to you on the day that I recorded. And I've got nothing prepared. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm just free balling it. I'm just raw dogging it totally. And I was just thinking about, I wanted to do just a quick little follow up on my HyVee rant. So I went to HyVee. I go there all the time. Unexplainably, right? So I think I went since that last one, but I got some groceries, picked them up. This was on Monday. Got some groceries for the girls, well, for us, and then went home and I put them all away, and and then I had run to go get the girls. And I was just, big hurry, whatever. Just didn't really pay attention much. Put everything away. And as the night wore on, that night with the girls and making them dinner and all that kind of stuff, and then just different things, I started noticing. I'm like, God, I thought I picked this up. And then the next morning, there was like, I was like, I know I got some stuff. So then it comes to, slowly you start to realize I'm missing groceries. Has that ever happened? This happened to me before, here and there, maybe an item or whatever. I don't know. And sometimes like I went and I found it in my car because it like had rolled out of the bag and I found it underneath, or wherever. So I did that, went out, checked out, and looked, and I was like, no. So as I didn't really think much of it. And then as time wore on, I was like, items kept on coming up to mind. I'm like, how much did I leave? I was like, I left at least a bag full of groceries there. So I called over there yesterday, just kind of just on a whim, just to see. It's like, wondering if they'd be like, oh yeah. Because I imagine that this happens a lot. So I called over there and they're like, well, do you know what items? And I go, well, I know I could click off a couple just right off the top of my head. So there's like a root beer and there's a specific brand. And then there was a couple bananas, 2 bananas. And, so she's like, oh, let me check it out. Let me look at the book here and whatever. So I'm like, okay, look at the book. So apparently they may write them down. I was hoping maybe they just set the bag aside, but it was a day later. So, whatever, I get it. She checks the book. I don't see any of these as left items in here. I'm like, well, whatever. So, I double check. I check the car, all that stuff. And again, whatever. So today, she's also like, so do you have the receipt? And I'm like, no, I don't have the receipt. So today rolls around. I'm like, you know what? There's a lot. It seems like there's a lot of groceries missing. And so I went and dug around in the garbage, found the receipt. So I'm like, you know what? Because I just didn't think I would. Well, so I found the receipt. So that kind of got me excited. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to check this out. So I go down so I get a pen, I go down the receipt and I'm marking off items that I don't have that, never got home. And it was a lot. I was like, this is like half the shit that I bought. Half the stuff I bought, because this is on the receipt. I bought it, But I'm like, how in the world did I get out of there? Today after work, I rolled in HyVee with my receipt. And I'm like, go to the customer service. I'm like, hey, again, I'm assuming this probably happens all the time. So I figured they'd give me a quick short answer. And he's like looking at, so I, gave him the receipt. I said, hey, I didn't get this stuff. When I got home, it wasn't there. I think, I said when I was checking out, they had a couple, they had the guy behind me, they had a bunch of stuff coming through already by the time my stuff got put in my cart. And the other thing was just like, if I was bagging it all myself, which I often do, you often have to, well, I probably would have been like, my fault, my bad, whatever, no big deal. But the fact that it was, they bagged it all, they put it in, they're like, see you later. I was kind of like, it's on them, So that's what I was thinking. So the guy at the customer service was a little bit like, listen, maybe it was because of the amount of items. I don't know, but he checked the book again. No, not there. And then, so then kind of him and Han. So then he's like, well, I got to call this in or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. Call it in. So then he calls the guy and he's like, yeah, it was on this date and on this time, clicking off from the receipt. He's got all that info. And then, so then I'm assuming, oh, they're probably going to check. This is probably like security. They're probably going to check the tape, like, because they got everything on video. I'm like, kind of cool. I was kind of interested. I was like, I wish they were like doing that right down there in front of me. Because I was like, it's not there. I mean, I kind of wanted to know what happened. I assumed that they got left there, but if they got left there, they probably would have just brought them right up to the customer service counter. But anyway, so that took a little while. I mean, he was, but he was being nice about it. But he just was like, yeah, I'm, like he's kind of like, it's out of my hand. We're just gonna have to check, and I gotta ask this guy. So he runs it up the pipe, and eventually they call back, and he's just like, okay, go ahead and take this receipt, and go ahead and go ahead and grab, if you want to go ahead and grab those items, then just bring them up here when you're done. I was like, oh, I go, was it on? I go, did they see it on tape or whatever? And he's just like, well, I guess, yeah. He's like, yeah, it looked like there might have been a missed bag or something like that. I was kind of like, okay. I was like, I mean, you don't have to, I mean, I hope that's the case, but anyway, he seemed to believe me. I mean, it wasn't like he was like, yeah, here, go get your stuff. He seemed like he believed what I was saying. Anyway, so I went and got my stuff, and I happen to know, I mean, I did. I just went and got exactly what I bought, because I just really did know. I knew exactly what I had. And brought it up front, and he's like, okay, here you go. He's like, yeah, he checks it all off, and then he goes, hey, what's your favorite like soda? And I go, well, it's probably like this root beer here. Root beer. He's like, okay, well, go for your trouble. Why don't you go ahead and grab a pack of that, whatever, 4-pack of that. Root beer comes in 4-pack. If you're not a root beer aficionado, then yeah, you wouldn't know that, but yeah, they come in 4-packs. I'm a root beer aficionado. I'm a root beer sommelier. Anyway, so when I got that, so I was like, well, that's pretty cool. I mean, for my trouble, I mean, that was cool. It wasn't like, he wasn't like, you're putting us out. He's like, yeah, I get it. This is a pain in my ass, which it kind of was, but I was like, all right, HyVee. Okay. For all HyVee's, I've probably complained about HyVee on here before. I think it's all been pretty much in good fun. I mean, like my unexplainable rant, that's all on me. That wasn't HyVee, but I mean, yeah, I know that they're a little pricey, and their fuel point thing has really gone down, availability of getting points and all that. But I mean, it's my store. You get your home stores, and you kind of where everything is. I kind of know a few of the peeps. I mean, this kind of cements it, and I know that they put their money towards the wrong candidates from what I've heard, from what I understand. I mean, they're headquartered in Iowa. I mean, go figure. I mean, so, that does bug me, but, unless I hear something else, like they're really like, going super hard for, some idiot candidates. I mean, I dig them. You know what? I mean, you did right by me. I appreciate that. So there it is. There it is. I mean, look, I still shop at Amazon, which is the devil, but my God, if they're not convenient. Whole Foods. I mean, like Whole Foods, that's a weird one. In fact, that's one of those anomalies, kind of like Musk. I mean, Whole Foods, total granola, tree hugger, liberals, keep that place in biz. And then Amazon, the big corporate, as it turns out, right-wing bully. I mean, actually, those guys, they don't care what part. They have no, I don't think they have any actual moral backbone. It's just whatever works for them financially. So, anyway, I could go on, but I won't. I was going to say the same thing about Musk. I mean, like, who supported electric vehicles forever against the grain of, the traditional, conventional wisdom, ingrained status quo? It was the progressives, the liberals. That's who got, electric cars on the market. And then lo and behold, Musk just takes a dump all over his base demographic. Go figure. Well, then all of a sudden, of course, the GOP, the right wing idiots start chiming in, and Trump's trying to sell Teslas on the White House front lawn and all that shit. Anyway, just again, zero actual spine. But There you go. Here's corporate America. All right. So what else did we got, you guys? What do you got? Yeah. Oh, there's a war. That's right. You know what? I'm going to throw a few things out there, but not the obvious. Well, maybe I will. But for one thing, I'm so sick of people being like, well, they did it. Well, so-and-so did it once, or so did it. It's like, does that work when you're a child? It doesn't. Like when you say that shit to your parents, they're like, I don't give a shit who did it. Don't do that. And that's the case. And it's never, and things are never equal. If it's like, well, they did it. It's like, they didn't do that. They did this. They maybe did this or that. It's, but it's usually coming from someone that's done something very uniquely horrible is generally what that happens, is how that happens. But I don't know. There's just so much going on. You got, Mike Johnson being like, the Congress should stay out of this. That's what he said today. Congress should stay out of this. The War Powers Act. None of that. When it comes to them, this is so stereotypical. This is my problem with what I see happen far too often with the GOP. And that is this selective everything. That when it comes to them, things work a little bit differently. So anyway, so that's a lot of that's going on. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on. So, all right, what else? What else is going on though? So the war, yeah, that's going on. Here's my take. This is this much of a take on that. And that is just that, Iran, I personally know some Iranian people that, a woman that moved here from Iran, her family is still there. She has 2 beautiful daughters here. I've done hair for them since they were kids and and because of her, she brought in a lot of Persian women that I started doing their hair. So, I kind of got to know this little bit of a community here of Persian women, which FYI, Persian women. Oh my God. Yeah. Very beautiful people. And, but beautiful people inside and out for sure. The Persian culture, Persian heritage, everything, the food, everything about Persian people, is just, it's a beautiful culture, beautiful people. So when you talk about Iran, I think about the Persian people that, live, that are Iranian. That is, I know that most people first thought is, Ayatollah Khomeini, and theocracy and, all that shit, which is horrible. And these people that I know, well, they're the first ones. It was a lot more horrible for them than it was for you, than it is for you. Trust me. Those guys came in and, took over their way of life. And that is why they ended up, coming here and getting away from that. And so they are torn. And so because they are torn, I am torn because I get it. Once you, it's just like everything else, gay, trans, women, minorities, Mexicans. Once you know someone, once you have a personal relationship with people, you can't, well, I shouldn't say you can't, because definitely people do, and they can't, and even that sometimes is not good enough for some people. And the truth of the matter is you shouldn't need to know personally a Persian, a Mexican, a gay person, a trans person. You shouldn't have to know them personally in order for you to be like, oh, I guess they are okay. No, you shouldn't, and in a lot of cases, that's what it takes for some people, especially conservative people, to come around on them. Let's take Dick Cheney, for instance. Dick Cheney, most right-wing GOP stalwart. And then his daughter came out. And that completely changed his thinking on gay people. the Bushes, one of their kids somebody in the Bushes family married a Mexican, like a real from Mexico Mexican. And, that changed their stance on that, even though didn't align exactly with the party, all that. Anyway, personal experiences is what changed them. I don't feel like it should come to that. You should be able to empathize. And if you can't, you need to work on it. You should be able to empathize with people before you even know them. I mean, if you're Christian, oh my God. Do you give a shit about what Jesus said? Because was there a bigger tree hugging hippie, sandal wearing, long haired, hanging out with, prostitutes and, and this is the guy the GOP supposedly worship? The guy that says, love your enemies, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's just, you can't, the mental gymnastics that you have to do as the GOP right now, they must be exhausted. If you're listening to this, are you not exhausted by with the bullshit that you have to do in order to try and be like, well, but calculus, and then, trigonometry is because that is why I voted for Trump. Just the shit that you have to go through in order to try and make it okay that Trump is not like just the most disgusting human being alive. I'm not talking about presidents. He is like the most disgusting celebrity that I think anyone can imagine, anyone can think of right now. And he is running the country into the dirt. And then they also have to, well, no, it's the stock market. It's just ridiculous. And now you're going to have the oil and gas are going to, it's crazy. But maybe if it affects the people on the right, if it affects their precious 401ks and their inheritance, and all of that stuff enough, that might be it. The pedophile stuff, that's, but no, their 401k or their inheritance or their all their investments. That's the thing on the stock market, though. It's just like, if the stock market stays up, the stock market doesn't seem to care that he's a pedophile. So, it would take if something like that. Maybe that'll have to take. I don't think this war will be great necessarily for this. It'll be good for a lot of people. Trust me. It'll be good for all the defense contractors and all that bullshit. So who knows? I don't know. That's above my pay grade. We'll see how that pans out. Hopefully not good for him, because whatever it takes to get him out of there is probably going to be what is the best thing for the country. But let's hope that he doesn't have to drag us through a ton more shit before the Senate finally sacks up and grows a spine and some balls to do a thing. Just do one thing, please. Mike Johnson, the Congress needs to stay out of that. Oh my God. So anyway, so happy Wednesday. I hope you guys. So what? Okay, I was going to talk about Iran a little bit, but that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I was just like, the people of Iran is not the government of Iran. Just like the people of the United States, good Americans, people that the world thinks of as Americans, that wants to, or that maybe at one point thought about Americans, because Trump has shit on our reputation all around the world, are not the government of America. And if you need to now wonder how the Persian people are beautiful culture people, how did they end up with this Ayatollah, this theocracy? And it's just like, how does the country wind up with the very worst element possible in charge of their country. I don't think we'll ever have to worry or wonder how that happens from here on out, do we? I mean, I still wonder how the fuck did that happen? But then, you know what? You go through life and there's just a ton of people that you're just like, that make you make this face. That you run across on your daily life. And chances are those people probably aren't going to align with you on who you vote for. And so that's what I finally have come to. It's just like, there's a lot of those people that make you go, enough of those people that got their guy elected. So I shouldn't be surprised anymore. Yeah, but I am, and I almost want to hold on to that. I still want to be surprised when such a horrific decision has been made for the country. Yeah, I do. I still want to be surprised. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, that's America. No, I still want to believe that we're better than that. And I hope to God that we could get back to that. Yeah. Anyway, I hope and pray. I mean, I don't pray, but I hope. I'm sorry. I'll let other people pray. I would rather try and do everything I can here on this earth with my neighbors, with with my brethren, with all the people that if you are Christian, all the people that Christ talked about. Anyway. I love my Jewish friends. I do. I love the Jewish culture. There too, Jewish women. God, I think I've always had a thing for Jewish women. So, and I don't want to keep breaking this down to that. But all right, come on. They're hot. All right. But I love Jewish people. I mean, the culture. I've always had an affinity for Jewish people, as I have for Persian people, Indian people, Jordanians. Oh my God. Again, with, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, America, Europe, but there are some beautiful people in that part of the world, and God love them. Theocracy, religion, man, that can really screw up a lot of shit. It's almost like there's a case to be had for that. Anyway, do unto others, man. Love your brother. No matter who they are. Again, I will always go back to this, because more than religion, more than any of that stuff, more than praying, more than love. Because if there is a God, if there is any type of a merciful, omnipotent being, there would be nothing more important than loving your neighbor. If this being indeed had anything to do with our creation, or has anything to do with loving us or safeguarding us, or whatever it is, or whatever it is you want to believe, that being, there's just, nothing, work your philosophy. Nothing makes more sense, that nothing would be more important than loving each other, taking care of each other. And over anything else. They wouldn't want any ounce of energy put towards worshiping them. They would not want that. That's a human that you're talking about. That's a person. That's not an omnipotent, all-loving being. They would want you to put all of that energy, all of that shit, making statues and stuff and all that. That's huge. Spending tons of money on these huge temples and churches. Put that towards taking care of each other. Of course. Duh. Take care of everyone. That would be first and foremost over anything. They wouldn't want an ounce of energy spent towards worshiping them. Praying to me? Thanking me? Don't thank me. Don't pray to me. Thank that guy. He helped you. Thank that woman right there. Thank your mom. Thank thank people in your life, and thank people that you don't know and help people that you don't know. That is an omnipotent, all-knowing being. I'm going to start a church. And it's the unchurch, the church that has no walls, that doesn't exist. And that is the only goal is to take care of each other and to love each other. There's no greater thing in the world, I don't care what religion, I don't care who you are, whatever. Nothing more important than that. So there it is. I'll leave you with that. Love each other. Damn it. God, just fucking love each other.
Making no sense with Thomasina.